somebody asked me my thoughts on Joss Whedon leaving Twitter. Ironically, I've read a lot of interviews recently about how he did not like working on Avengers 2. Way too much oversight by Disney, which, if you've seen Avengers 2, you kind of, it doesn't feel very coherent. It really feels like Disney was like, well, we gotta make a movie that's like identical to the first one to just make as much money. This has to be a gravy train. And that's why when you watch the film, it feels like lots of people threw in a lot of input. And it kind of... The film is good. It's not great. And the flow just feels all over the place. It doesn't have that nice, cohesive, we're going this way. It's kind of like, we're going, but we need this to tie into the other film. This. A lot of things kind of got brought up so they can be used in later films, which you could tell from most of his interviews. He was like, I wanted to do a film you could watch by itself. That would have some Easter eggs. Not a film that was like, we're going to go to Wakanda. Why? Black Panther in a couple of years. Okay, introduce a bunch of characters? Yep. We can do anything with them? Maybe in a couple of years. Okay. Yeah, Scarlet should have whammy on him. Thor's got some issues. Let's totally talk about that. Thor 3 Ragnarok. It's also going to tie directly into Infinity War Part 1 and 2. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Oh, it's like, okay, so from this one film, they've already tied in like a half dozen other films. They might as well have gone with the actual 3.5 hour cut, divide the film in half. You know, you pretty much could have ended with them, licking their wounds at the cabin in the woods. Done Ant-Man. Have Ant-Man either reference the events that are currently going on, because apparently it happens over like 3 or 4 days from the time that Ultron becomes active in the final battle. You usually could have made a quick mention. There could have been a news story about Iron Man fighting Hulk. That could have easily been enough. And then end the summer with, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron Part 2. Or you could have had, Age of Ultron, and the second one could have been called, like, Rise of Vision. But he more or less left because, one, he kind of got really tired of social justice warriors pretty much crucifying him for any single line of dialogue. Ironically, when the first Avengers came out, I didn't recall a lot of people really getting on Captain America for saying there's only one God and you're not it, to Loki. I don't seem to recall everyone being up in arms on that. Yes, the one little section with Scarlett Johansson where she mentions being a monster because of what was done to her. People were upset that that was a line of dialogue that she had, when essentially she was genitally mutilated to try to remove any sort of compassion to make her a more effective killer. So she would feel like a monster based on the training that she had, where she killed people indiscriminately. It felt like a moment that was kind of forced in the story. It was thrown in there to kind of try to bind, Bruce Banner and totally drawn a blank on her name, and Black Widow together. Romanoff, there we go. To try to bind those two characters together in the fact, one accidentally created himself a monster, and the other one was forced to become a quote-unquote monster. Okay. A line that you might as well remove from the film. Then there was, this was a recent one, and this, of course, is the Avengers 2 toy, wherein, of course, is the Quinjet that drops out a motorcycle, and the figure who includes Captain America. Even though one of the more iconic scenes, of course, has Black Widow coming down on a motorcycle. I think it's a different motorcycle. I think they're trying to reference earlier, the opening sequence in the film where he's riding a motorcycle with the shield on the front. But I think they picked probably the wrong toy to go with that. They could have easily had done, like, Attack on Hydra Stronghold, and that could have been, like, the play set, and they could use that figure, and then said Scarlett Johansson and a different motorcycle for the other one. So it seems like he's just getting beaten and battered. And I've read some of the stuff that was on his Twitter before he closed it. Cheesy Pete's. You need a thick skin to use on the internet. If out of $1 all the times I was called faggot, times I was told, why don't you go ahead and kill yourself? You know, people who are like, you shouldn't talk about these things because you have all these childlike things in the background. Hey, yeah, we don't agree on something. That's cool. If you're belligerent, I just ban you from the channel and delete you. I just remove your voice entirely because I don't feel like listening to it. And seeing what he was getting battered with near relentlessly, it makes sense for me to be like, you know what, I'm done. I worked the Marvel stuff for quite a few years. I'm burned out. You know, I want to have some free time to do whatever I want to do. And Joss Whedon with control over a project, awesome. He can do some really weird, whacked out things and make it work. Because he knows how to go, I've got a point A and a point C. My point B can be kind of nebulous, but as long as I start well and I end well, and I can connect enough of the dots in the center, it's a coherent idea, and it works well for a movie. So, he quit Twitter. Part of it is quote-unquote social justice warriors who decide to just badger him relentlessly over dialogue that he may or may not have written, that might be misinterpreted, for scenes that probably got edited in such a way that if the dialogue had a different sort of flow to it, got edited down ad nauseum. So you know what, hey, best of luck to you, man. You've made a lot of money off this. If you need some time to just relax and find something cool to do,